The Alva Phono cartridge is designed to give you approximately 1,000 hours of listening pleasure, depending on the condition of your records. But there will come a time when performance drops off and it's going to need replacing. Excessive wear can be detected as a duller noise or stereo imbalance, and this can be difficult to spot as it builds up over time, so you're probably better off working out an approximate weekly or monthly usage and going from there. Alva turntables have been designed to work best with pre-fitted Alva cartridges, so this film will show you how to carry out a like-for-like replacement. For other compatible cartridges, please refer to your cartridge manufacturer's instructions. The procedure for replacing your Alva cartridge isn't difficult, but it is delicate and it requires a steady hand. The good news is, once you've learned how to change this one, you should be able to replace most others too. If you're not comfortable carrying it out, please contact your Cambridge Audio dealer. They'll be able to offer you further advice rather than risk damage to your turntable or your new cartridge. So if we haven't put you off, you're going to need some tools. A good pair of tweezers, never pliers, a cartridge alignment protractor which you can download and print from the Cambridge Audio website, and the tracking force gauge that came with your turntable. You'll also need your replacement cartridge. To remove the old cartridge, first move the bias dial to 0 and lock the tone arm in place. Making sure the stylus guard's in situ, start to tweeze the wire tags from the rear of the cartridge. This is a bit of a pressure point as the wires are very thin, very delicate and very difficult to replace. Remember to pull on the metal tag itself, not the wire behind the tag, and go carefully. Once the tags are off, you can unscrew the cartridge from the head shell using a small screwdriver. A good habit to get into here is to store the screws in the removed cartridge immediately. And if you're swapping cartridges as an experiment rather than a permanent replacement, or sending the cartridge away, you don't want to be hunting around for those. Now it's time for the new cartridge. Keeping the stylus guard in place, screw the cartridge into the head shell. Finger tight's okay for now, as you're going to need to make some small adjustments using the alignment protractor. Instructions are printed on the protractor, but the key here is to make sure the head shell is lined up with the lines on the protractor and the cartridge is squarely aligned to the head shell. Doing this correctly will ensure the most accurate sound reproduction across the whole record and the least amount of wear and tear to both the stylus and the disc. Remove the stylus cover and place the stylus on the cross. Move the cartridge forwards and backwards on the head shell until the head shell is lined up with the protractor. Once you've lined it up, ensure the cartridge is squarely aligned with the head shell and tighten the screws with the small screwdriver. You'll very rarely need to revisit cartridge alignment, but it is worth rechecking every year or so, or if you ever reposition your turntable. If nothing else, you can make sure the bolts are still correctly tightened. The final stage of the process is to reset the tracking force. Even though this is a like-for-like replacement, don't assume it'll have stayed the same. Use the force gauge supplied with your turntable. Place the gauge on the platter, unclip the tone arm, set the bias dial to 0, and remove the cover from the cartridge. Rest the stylus on the appropriate point on the gauge. In the case of Alva cartridges, that's 2, meaning 2 grams of tracking force. You want the gauge to be able to balance on the pivot point unassisted. It's advisable to make your adjustments with the tone arm in the armrest to avoid any damage to the cartridge. If the stylus pushes the gauge all the way down, it's too heavy. You'll need to move the counterweight towards the back of the tone arm. If the gauge pushes the stylus up, it's too light. Move the counterweight forward. Once balanced, set the bias dial back to 2 and you're done. Stick on your favourite record and enjoy.